Okay, I'm going to declare a quorum. I will call the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, June 17, 2019 to order. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Deputy Mayor Jamal Beckford, Councilors Lisa McKay, Reginald Stanford, Guinevere Depot, Finance Director Ron Uhas, Clerk Deborah Patrick. Excused are Councilors Minerva Ortiz and Rashad Carter.
Okay, please stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're on to recognition awards and memorials. It is my pleasure to introduce to the council. Some of you may recognize this man, some of you may not know him, but he has been instrumental in the region, but more importantly, he has been instrumental to things, specific activities, specific accomplishments here in the city. And I want to read a couple of these. A visionary leader, community ambassador in the face of the Navy in Connecticut, Captain Weiscarver strengthened public partnerships and rekindled the state's maritime identity as the base celebrated its 2016 centennial as a submarine base. And during October 2015 to October 2016, there's a year-long observance of Connecticut Submarine Century. And there were just multitudes of events that were in the area, but a lot of them were here in the city. And Captain Weiscarver was at every one of them. He and Marion were working side by side, former Mayor Galbraith, were working side by side diligently to pull these off. In addition, in 2018, there was a celebration of the sesquicentennial as a Navy base. So that's the 150th anniversary of the Navy base being here. During his tenure, Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments, the subbase, contributed to Southeastern Connecticut being designated as a Great American Defense Community by the National Association of Defense Communities. And that was a huge honor. There was a flag. It's down. I think it's still down at the Nautilus, but it was a wonderful presentation that day. Under Captain Weiscarver, the subbase team strove to be even better neighbors within and even stronger contributors to the Southeastern Connecticut community, earning 4 Navy Region Community Service Flagships Award for 2017 through 18. In September 2017, a ribbon cutting was conducted for 3 solar parks, which would produce more than 8 million kilowatt hours every year and serve 972 homes with 100% of their energy. This would produce roughly 2% of the CMEX members' electricity. So this was a huge milestone in the region to have the solar farms here, and this is part of an overall larger plan for resiliency, not only in the area, but also on the Navy base. And then in July 25th, 2018, Subbase broke ground on a 7.4 megawatt fuel cell park. It's still under construction. This and the solar farms will ensure resiliency in the region and allow the submarine base to be self-contained in the future if necessary. So what we have here is we have the setups for a microgrid which could provide power in the immediate area should there be outages in the area, and it will allow the submarine base, if the submarine base has to island off for some reason, the submarine base will be self-reliant for power. And that is a tremendous asset. Some of you may remember several years ago that there was a BRAC process and our base was on that list, and since then several captains, but particularly Captain Weiscarver, has completed some projects that will help ensure that we are defensible against any future BRAC proceedings. And then as a member of the Thames River Heritage Park, Captain Weiscarver was instrumental in securing Navy authorization for the boats, but also funding for the dock at historic ship Nautilus for the water taxi. So this is a new set of funding and a new dock that's going to be down at Nautilus, which will allow additional expansion of the Thames River Heritage Park. And then my personal favorite and my wife's personal favorite is on October 20th, 2018, Captain White Scarver held the submarine premiere of Hunter Killer at the Naval Submarine Base in New London and welcomed actor Gerard Butler to Groton, Connecticut. So if you listen to stories and read the newspaper articles and other articles about Captain White Scarver, there have been a lot of things that he has been involved in the region. But tonight I wanted to let you as a council know the specific things that have occurred here and in the city and in this region that directly impact us. So with that, I'm going to ask Captain White Scarver to come up. Also, Marion Galbraith, former mayor, because Captain White Scarver's tour covered over both Mayor Galbraith's terms and my term. And Marion, if you wouldn't mind, could you read this and present this?
I'd be happy to. Captain Paul White Scarver, Commanding Officer, Naval Submarine Base, New London, in grateful appreciation for your service and dedication to the city of Groton and our community. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's perfect. So if we want to,
picture for Chris.
let's do this. Hold that.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Deb, is this
I turned it on.
okay?
The lights on.
Microphone is
So,
all yours.
One, I can't tell you how appreciative I am of your recognition to me, but realize that the recognition really goes to the base and the many people that I have working on the base, specifically Chris Zinden. I mean, he is the stalwart when it comes to making ceremonies and making sure that I show up and making sure that I say the right words. He's the perfect guy for the base, and being the public affairs officer, he's done a phenomenal job. And if it wasn't for Chris, a lot of the events that we did for Sub-Century and also for the Sesquicentennial probably wouldn't have been as good as they were brought off to be. The other part of that is the partnership with the base and the city of Groton, and specifically the city. I got to tell you that your leadership within all the municipalities, whether you're talking about the town, the city, the city of New London, or Ledyard to the north, you guys are the best. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. You supported the sailors, you support our submarine veterans, and you do a phenomenal job of making sure that the base and its constituents feel welcome in this area, and I really appreciate that. It's hard for me to leave, but I want you to know it's been a great tour, and you're one of the reasons for having a great tour. So thank you very much.
All right, with that, I'm going to call a 5-minute recess so that I can introduce Captain White Scarver to the council. We're going to call the meeting to order, back to order. The next area is the next item on the agenda, receipt of citizens' petitions, comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll skip that and the response to citizens' petitions, comments. Approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the June 3rd, 2019 Mayor and Council meeting minutes.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Communications and reports. What we'll do is we'll start out with a presentation by the planner on a SHIP grant that we just submitted. I don't know how much of this I've talked to you guys about. We've kind of talked, I think, around it, but now we're going to talk specifically about the SHIP grant and what that means to the city and where that is. Dennis, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening. Dennis Codera, City Planner.
As the mayor had mentioned, we just submitted 2 applications for SHIP grants, which the acronym stands for Small Harbor Improvement Project Program. We received an award in 2017 for the design and engineering of an 8-slip transient boating facility and kayak launch. That process, we're in design right now and about ready to submit applications to DEEP for permits. Tonight I will give you a brief overview of sort of a little bit about the property itself, a very brief history of what the city has invested in the property, and then go through the bigger vision for the property, and explain the content of the grant, which in your package there was the front end portion of the grant was provided. So the property, which has also been called the Costa property, there's actually 2 parcels of land on Thames Street. So it's just south of the PAF facility. There's a waterfront parcel, which has a dilapidated dock system. And then the upper parcel, which has frontage or joins with the Fort Griswold State Park. Majority of our conversation is going to focus on the lower portion. So a little history. City purchased the property back in 2007, started cleaning up the property in 2009, built a new retaining wall, which is along Thames Street, then a bulkhead back about 5 years ago. And in total, the city has invested just shy of $3 million on the property between purchasing, raising the buildings, and the other improvements for the walls. What it looks like right now, you can see, so this is the bulkhead that was recently built with the decorative fence, the retaining wall, and the top of the stairs that you go down, and you can see a better view of the dock facility. Little turn-off area, not really a structured parking, which goes down a steep slope down to the lower portion, which is basically all grass with a couple of picnic tables down there for people to enjoy. What was presented in the 2017 grant was an overall master plan of a much larger dock facility that would be owned and operated by the city. The grant that we were just recently awarded in the last couple of years for the design focused on this first phase. It's black and white. I know it's kind of difficult to see, but this is where we are right now in design. We have 8 slips, a kayak launch. This is a wave attenuator float. It's a fully handicap accessible facility, including the kayak launch. That's as proposed. There's some better photographs in a moment that I'll show you. So as I had mentioned, there's also dinghy tie-ups if people are anchored or moored elsewhere. And we are about ready to be submitting for DEEP permits. So last week we filed 2 grant applications. The first application is for the construction of the dock facility itself. So the grant award for the engineering was $54,500, which the city had no responsibility for any other additional costs. To construct the dock that's being designed, our engineer's estimate is $815,416. We're required to match by 20%, so our contribution would be $166,000 and a few dollars. The second application was actually improving the park, providing access, walkways down, an amphitheater, other seating areas as well, including a handicap parking space, and I'll show you some plans in a moment. That design was done about 6 years ago, and escalated into today's dollars. The construction's estimated to be $546,000. And the city's contribution would be $109,000. We're also asking for $75,000 to complete the design and engineering of that, which a portion of that would also include looking at the upper parcel, maybe for public parking or an extension of a park or something. That would be part of the process that we would be looking at. So I'm going to go through a series of slides that depict the improvements, and I'll walk you through them. So this is an aerial view, courtesy of Google Earth. Looking down from over the Thames River. You can see the dilapidated dock, the PAF facility, the Garbo parcel, Thames Street in the back. So this is a rendering in a 3D model that I've been working on that kind of shows what could be the after. So you can see the dock facility here, the kayak launch. There would be a pathway that would meander down at a grade that would be considered handicap accessible, so you wouldn't even need a ramp or handrails, although there probably would be handrails just to protect because of the slope. An amphitheater area for events and performance spaces, some tables for picnicking, playing games, checkers, seating areas, benches, perhaps even have a handicap accessible fishing area as well in that area. And you can see here is the handicap parking space above on top of the hill. And then another view, we're closer up for the docks. This is the existing dock. And then superimpose what the proposal would be. So this would be the handicap accessible gangway. Dinghies would moor where the shallower waters would be, or tie up, and then the ramp bringing you down to the kayak launch. This is also an area that we're thinking that the Thames River water taxis could come and utilize as well. And the harbor master may utilize one of the slips on a full-time basis for his boat as well. Another view, more closer to the water, park-oriented, with benches overlooking decorative lighting, banners to add some life. Landscaping hasn't all been worked out, but you can see the gangway here. And something that I was thinking of, I go back a second, you can see the view of the PF facility here. Perhaps there's an opportunity we could do a living green wall, which is basically a trellis with ivy that grows up it to help block the view. Another view from above Thames Street looking down. You see New London in the background. And then from the dock itself, looking back at the property. So right through here is the Upper Costa parcel. The city doesn't own the parcel where the house is located, but has the right of first refusal if that was to become available. So to kind of summarize things, so we've requested just shy of $1.2 million to build the project between the two applications. We're matching of $275,000 to round off numbers for a total project value of just over $1.4 million. The docks, if we were to get awarded both grants, the docks would be built first. We'd estimate that they could be done in October 2020, depending on how long it takes to close on the grant and other things. Once that is completed, the park improvements would then take place. And roughly in the summer of 2021, maybe more towards the fall of 2021, the full construction would be complete. That concludes.
Okay. I know this is our initial presentation to the council, so you probably have lots of questions. Councilor Depot.
Just to clarify, so the middle dock, that funding for that has already been approved and we're already working on that?
The funding has been approved for the design and engineering only,
Okay.
not the construction.
So are we planning to, so this grant is for the construction of it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like that middle dock is gonna be built quicker than the rest of this? It's all gonna be done at the same time?
The middle dock would be done first. Right now, there aren't any other plans to design or engineer any of the other expanded dock area, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I'd like to mention, that why we have also submitted for the park improvements itself, is because we are making this facility handicap accessible. Without having a walkway down there, it's almost a moot point of having a handicap accessible, somebody can't get down there. But we think we have a very good case that in this area there's very little, if none, no waterfront access for the public. So I think we have a good case to do this.
Councilor Depot.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. Is, when do we expect a decision on the grant, or do they not?
Around July 1 is my anticipation. This-
Okay.
so it seems like a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It could go later, but they're looking to make a decision by the end of this month.
Oh,
Councilor McCabe?
In looking at the pictures, I'm trying to envision how someone would get their kayaks down. Is it just you carry them down the path to get to the docks? Is that?
There are roughly 3 to 4 on-street parking spots that's right on top of the wall along
Like
Fame Street.
parallel park?
Parallel parking.
Okay.
So people would park there and then they'd walk them down.
Okay.
And then there was a picture of the kayak system where it's actually on rollers. A handicapped individual can put their boat down, there's railings, and they can push themselves in the water and pull themselves back up as well.
Deputy Mayor Beckford?
So the grant that we're applying for, is that a yearly or annual type of grant? Like if suppose we didn't get the grant this year, would we be able to submit it again for next year?
I don't think do it every year. It's kind of sort of as available funding.
Okay.
So the last time was in 2017 when we submitted. So it's been 2 years. So
Mhm.
yes, it's not every year.
Gotcha.
There are other funds. Actually, to that point, we are monitoring other funds at the federal level as well. There's a boating infrastructure grant called the BIG grant,
Mhm.
and we would qualify. We actually designed this to accommodate vessels that are 26 feet in length. And to qualify for the BIG grant, we would need to be able to accommodate 26-foot vessels. So that's why we made a decision to design for that size, just in case.
Gotcha. I have one more
Go
question.
ahead.
You had mentioned something about, I think, deep or
Connecticut Deep.
right. Can you
Yeah.
just explain that a little bit?
So the existing dock facility that's there now, that's falling apart, has a certificate of permission in place. It was just extended for an additional year. And the coordination that we've been doing with Deep's office so far is that the way that this proposal is designed, it sits in that footprint of the docks that exist, so it's eligible to qualify under that COP. They've made every indication that we will be approved for it and that there wouldn't be no issues.
Okay. Awesome.
Councilor Stanford?
So this grant is only going to focus on the pier and the smaller portion of the two parcels of land?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Councilor McCabe?
So the picture that has the all of the dock, the follow-on docks. Could we potentially go after that? What do you call it? BIG or the federal funding for
the big grant?
additional, since it has a bigger slip on the end there? Is that, or would you just go?
I would
for-
anticipate we would be able to. Again, it'd have to be designed to accommodate 26-foot vessels. The bottom fingers would be probably the priority of the two areas because that you get some protection from northwesterly winds, but here it's pretty exposed. Even though these are being designed, or this one's being designed with wave attenuator floats, it's still going to be susceptible to wave action over there.
Any other questions? Okay, couple things. If you go to the last slide, the city's portion would be $275,000. What we're looking at is 20%. The city would need to provide 20% matching grant for this. So my logic is we're going to get a $1.4 million renovation on the waterfront that can help be an economic driver, and we're paying 20 cents on the dollar. Okay, I think that's a good investment. I'm bringing it to you guys, and we're also bringing it to the residents at the same time, because the question is, where do you get the money? Now, we have money set aside. It's not true. We don't have money set aside. We have money that we could utilize. We also have bond money that we could repurpose for this. if we decided to go with the bond money to repurpose this, then we would need to have a Freeman's meeting. So they would vote on it. But before that, what I would want to do is have a public hearing so we can hear the outreach, so we can hear what the public has to say about this, and then we go from there. What I think is, I think this is a great investment. I think it is a cornerstone for some economic development. And also, if you look at any of these pictures here that show the restaurant, there's a restaurant beside it. The city is working with buyers that are looking to buy the property and with some restaurateurs to potentially buy that restaurant and turn that into a waterfront restaurant on the Thames River. I don't want to get into a lot more than that because, one, I don't want to overstep. Two, I don't want to jeopardize what I think may be going on. But if you look at this, there's a potential for this to be an anchor point on Thames Street for economic development. This could very well be the spark that gets us going in a forward direction on this end of Thames Street. There's some other things that are going on in the north end of the Thames Street that are working as well. Some of it is off of the water, but we're also looking at some other things to try to get water dependent uses, water accessible uses, and those kind of things. But this could be a tremendous asset for the city of Groton. And that's why I wanted to roll it out tonight. We did go after the SHIP grant. Going after the grant, we went after it. We did not have to have the match going into it. Once they come back and they say you are eligible or you've made the cut, however they're going to word it, I will then have a finite period of time to get the money. And the reason I wanted to bring it out now is, one, to introduce it to you as the council, also introduce it to the public at large, and then we will continue to talk about this and discuss this so that we will get consensus on the funding. Any other questions or comments? Okay, that's all I have. Dennis, thank you very much. Okay, continuing with communications reports. Councilor McCabe.
I just wanted to say congratulations to the class of 2019 for the West Side STEM Magnet School. Their graduation ceremony on Friday was a lot of fun. So congratulations.
That was tremendous. Anything else?
No.
Councilor Sanford.
I second what Councilman McCabe said. Yeah, it was a good turnout.
It was a great
good
turnout.
Yes.
Great ceremony. Councilor Depot.
I also attended the West Side promotion ceremony, and it is fun. I went for the first time last year, and yeah, it's really fun that all the kids seem really excited to move up to the high school, and yeah, it's a great time.
Deputy Mayor Beckford.
Yeah, I'd like to second what everybody said. I graduated from Westside 20 plus years ago, so it was nice to see the kids are excited to go to high school. I even saw a couple of teachers I had. So it was a great time. Yeah, and good luck to the students.
Okay, where are we? Director U.S.
Nothing to report.
Clerk Patrick.
Nothing.
Okay, I want to echo what you guys said about that ceremony. And a couple weeks before that, I had an opportunity to go to the Fitch Scholarship Awards, and where I awarded the scholarship that this council approved to a student. And I forget her name, but she was a very deserving student. And I've talked to people since then that know her, and they've told me she was deserving of that scholarship. So thank you, council, and it was a tremendous event. Okay, we'll go on. Committee referrals. Do we have any committee referrals? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to new business. Councilor McCabe.
Referral R-19-6-88. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the Groton Utilities electric budgets for fiscal year 2019-2020 pursuant to the City of Groton Charter, Article 11, Section 4A. I so move.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. A motion, yes.
A resolution.
Stanford, thank you. My
Resolution
apologies.
19-6-89. Therefore be resolved that the mayor and the council approve the City of Groton Department of Utilities water budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 pursuant to the City of Groton Charter Article 11, Section 4A. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Deputy Mayor Beckford.
Yes, R-19-6-90. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the City of Groton Department of Utilities sewer budgets for fiscal year 2019 to 2020 pursuant of the City of Groton Charter, Article, was that 11? Section 4A. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor McCabe. Oh, no. Councilor Depot. Sorry. My apologies. You do get to play today.
Resolution R-19-6-91. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve the contract with Charles Pastriak Jr. Incorporated, 20 North Burnham Highway, Lisbon, Connecticut, for bituminous concrete pavement and milling as required of Elderkin Avenue for the quoted price of $89,500 and no cents, and an additional contingency for a total expenditure not to exceed $98,450 and no cents to be paid from previously approved Town of Groton bond funds. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor McCabe.
Resolution R-19-6-92. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council accept a donation from Groton Congregational Church, 162 Monument Street, Groton, Connecticut, in the amount of $1,000 and no cents for summer playground scholarships. I so move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. I need a motion to suspend the rules to add resolution R-19-6-93 to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Can we, that motion carries, can we send that to Clerk Patrick?
I have.
Oh, you do already, my apologies. Okay, Councilor Stanford,
Get to read it.
that's for you.
Resolution 19-6-93. Therefore be resolved that the mayor and the council provisionally authorize and approve the City of Groton to enter into agreement with Beta Group Incorporated, 1010 Weathersfield Avenue, Hartford, Connecticut, for the engineering, design, and bid service for the reconstruction of Pequannock Road for a total price not to exceed $108,900 and no cents, to be paid from Town of Groton Road Bond Funds. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. We had two bidders, we had multiple bidders actually. We were going through the bid review process, and I told you that once we were able to get through the bid process and we had a bidder, that we would provide you this information. So that's,
Do you want me to give you?
yes, go ahead and give a little more overview on this. Thank you.
So actually, here's a couple of handouts. So we talked about this at the cow, how the bid had just closed, and we did receive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seven bids in total. And that tally was included in the COW handouts with the letter from the state as far as the funding piece of it. What we ended up doing, there was a group, the purchasing agent, the highway project manager, the highway director, and myself got together and we interviewed the 4 lowest bids. And we actually had them come in, do a presentation, did a Q&A to make sure that we were all on the same page with the scope of the service and everything that they were going to provide to us. After the first round, we were all comfortable. I think we were all leaning towards 2 of the vendors, more so the low vendor, which was the Beta Group. We actually met with them again for a second time this morning to get a couple of more things clarified to make sure, again, that we were all on the same page, that we knew what everybody was getting into. You'll see that there was a small change from the original handout that was given at the COW as far as their bid for the design work, and it changed from $82,000 to $98,000. Again, what came out of the interviews was that they didn't have a full survey in their task list, so we had them go back and come back with adding that survey in to make sure that it was the same and comparable with all the other bidders. And as you can see from the new tally, they actually still were the low bid, and based on the interview, we felt that they were the best fit for the city for this project.
Any questions from the council? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Let's see, where am I? We have no executive session, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, we are adjourned.